Why 73% of people get worse with self-help? The truth they hide from you. Did you know 73% of people following self-help methods report higher anxiety after 6 months? If you're tired of paying premium prices to feel worse about yourself, get ready to discover what the billion-dollar personal development industry desperately hopes you never find out. Why your trust made you broke and broken, the secret mind hack of intelligent doubt. The mind-blowing discovery that changes everything. You've been programmed to fail from day one. The self-help industry installed a mental virus so sophisticated, you never realized you're being hacked 24/7 by people profiting from your perpetual dissatisfaction. Think of your mind like an iPhone, and imagine discovering someone installed malicious software that drains your battery, steals your personal data, and charges you a monthly subscription. That app is called blind trust, and it's been running in the background of your life for years. A groundbreaking study from the University of Rochester revealed that people who systematically question external information develop 40% greater stress resistance and make 60% more effective decisions. But nobody sold you a course on that, did they? Here's the brutal truth. You've been conditioned to outsource your decision-making power. Every guru, coach, or mentor who crossed your path planted the same toxic seed. You don't know what's best for you, but I do, and you, with good intentions to grow, handed over the keys to your mental kingdom to complete strangers. The manipulation system exposed. Layer 1 of this mind hack is external savior syndrome. They convince you that your evolution depends on products, courses, books, and methods created by others. Result? You become a professional consumer of solutions that never actually arrive. Layer 2 is even more sinister. Inadequacy programming. They make you believe you're always missing something: more knowledge, more discipline, more techniques. It's an infinite loop of dissatisfaction feeding a trillion-dollar industry. Layer 3 is the social comparison virus. Your feeds are programmed to show only edited successes, filtered lives, and manufactured achievements. Your primitive brain interprets this as everyone's doing better than me, and you spiral into inadequacy cycles. The revolution starts in your mind. True mental sanity doesn't come from following formulas. It comes from developing your internal operating system. It's like discovering you can program your own smartphone instead of depending on third-party apps that spy on you. The first hack is the strategic doubt protocol. For every piece of information you receive today, ask, who profits if I believe this? You'll be shocked by the answers. Your mind challenge today. Implement the authenticity filter. Before consuming any personal development content, ask yourself, does this resonate with my real experience or just with my fears? Your intuition is more powerful than any external algorithm designed to manipulate you. Real evolution begins when you stop seeking external validation and start trusting your internal GPS. You don't need more information, you need more connection with yourself. The most successful people aren't those who consume the most self-help content. They're those who learn to trust their own judgment and make decisions based on their authentic values, not borrowed wisdom from people who don't know their story. If you're ready to hack the system that hacked you, comment deprogrammed and share your biggest discovery about mental manipulation. Hit that notification bell because I'm about to reveal how the internet is hijacking your ability to think clearly. The silent brain hijacking, how the internet turned you into an information zombie. The devastating discovery nobody talks about. Your brain is being reprogrammed without your permission, with every scroll you make. And the worst part, you're paying to be digitally lobotomized by companies that see you as a product to be sold. Did you know the average person consumes the equivalent of 174 newspapers worth of digital information daily? Your brain, which evolved to process about 50 relevant pieces of information per day, is being bombarded with 50,000. It's like trying to run the latest video game on a computer from the 90s. System overload guaranteed. A Microsoft study revealed our sustained attention span dropped from 12 seconds in 2000 to 8 seconds today. We're officially less focused than goldfish. But this wasn't natural evolution, it was intentional programming by tech giants who weaponized your attention for profit. The distraction algorithm. Big tech companies hired behavioral neuroscientists to create what they call the attention economy. Every app on your phone was designed by psychologists specializing in addiction. They studied how slot machines hook gamblers and applied those exact techniques to social media platforms. The result? You've developed digital ADHD. Your mind can no longer go deep into anything. You live in scan mode, constantly seeking the next dopamine hit, the next stimulus, the next distraction. It's literally neurological hijacking, and you're paying for the privilege, the infinite knowledge illusion. You've been programmed to believe that having access to information equals wisdom. But information without processing is just mental noise. It's like having a library of 50 million books, but never reading one cover to cover. Brutal truth. You're not staying informed. You're becoming disinformed. Each notification fragments your thinking. Every push breaks your concentration. Every infinite scroll trains your brain for superficiality instead of depth. The mental health cascade effect. Information overload isn't just discomfort, it's a weapon of consciousness destruction. When you can't concentrate, you lose the ability to reflect. Without reflection, you become a robot reacting to external stimuli instead of a human making conscious choices. Anxiety, depression, and imposter syndrome aren't diseases. They're natural symptoms of a fragmented mind trying to process a digital world that never stops demanding your attention. The intelligent digital detox. Step 1 is recognizing you're addicted to distractions. It's not your fault you've been hacked by billionaires who profit from your scattered attention. The second hack is the conscious consumption protocol. Before opening any app, pause for 3 seconds and ask, am I looking for something specific, or just escaping the present moment? 90% of the time, you'll discover you're running away from yourself. The third hack is revolutionary. Controlled information fasting. Choose only 3 information sources per week. Yes, just 3. You'll discover that quality absolutely destroys quantity in terms of actual value and mental clarity. The smartest people in 2025 aren't those who consume the most information, they're those who filter the best information and ignore everything else. Your brain is your most valuable asset. Stop renting it out for free to algorithms designed to exploit your psychological weaknesses. Your mental mission today: implement the real value test. For every piece of content you consume, ask, does this help me make a practical decision in my life? Or does it just feed my anxiety? You'll be shocked how much content fails this basic test. If you're ready to reclaim your attention, comment "reclaimed" and tell us the biggest distraction you eliminated from your life. Save this content because I'm about to show you how social validation is destroying your identity. The invisible prison of approval, why you lost your identity in the like button, the disturbing reality that changes everything. You don't know who you are anymore, because you've spent your entire life being who others wanted you to be. And now, you're paying the emotional price for this constant performance that never ends. There's a silent epidemic destroying an entire generation. Performative self-syndrome. You've turned your life into a reality show where everyone judges, but nobody actually knows the real you hiding behind the carefully curated facade. A UCLA study discovered that receiving likes activates the same brain areas as drugs like cocaine and heroin. Literally, you're addicted to external approval. And like any addiction, the dose needs to constantly increase to generate the same pleasure response. The external validation system. Since childhood, you've been trained to seek approval. At school, at home, at work, there was always someone telling you whether you were good enough. Now, that dependency has migrated to digital platforms and become an insatiable monster that feeds on your authentic self. Every post you make passes through an unconscious filter. What will others think? Every important decision is influenced by an imaginary audience judging you 24/7. You become a hostage to your own image, performing for people who don't even know your real story. The death of authenticity. You've developed multiple digital personalities. One version for LinkedIn, or for Instagram, yet another for family WhatsApp groups. You have more characters than a Hollywood actor, but you forgot which one is the real you. The tragedy, while you feed these false personas, your true essence is starving for attention. You become a stranger to yourself, living someone else's definition of success, while your authentic self withers away in the shadows. The psychological price of performance. Living for external approval is like being a smartphone perpetually at 1% battery. You're constantly in emergency mode, never fully charged, never at peace. Social anxiety, imposter syndrome, and depression aren't bugs in your personality. They're natural consequences of a performative life. You've lost the ability to make decisions based on your values because you no longer know what your real values are. Everything you like has been filtered through social approval algorithms, both digital and psychological. The journey back home to yourself, liberation from external approval, doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of uninstalling decades of programming. But the first steps are surprisingly simple and immediately transformative. The first hack is the creative solitude test. Spend 1 hour alone without your phone, without distractions, just you and your thoughts. If this makes you uncomfortable, you've discovered how dependent on external validation you've become. The second hack is revolutionary. Anonymous kindness. Do something kind without anyone knowing it was you. Pay for a stranger's coffee. Leave a motivational note somewhere random. Help someone without identifying yourself. You'll rediscover what it feels like to experience joy without applause. The transformative power of authenticity. When you stop living to impress others, something magical happens. You start attracting people who value you for who you really are. Superficial relationships disappear, but genuine connections deepen and become more meaningful. Your mental energy, which was being wasted on performance, redirects toward creativity, productivity, and real well-being. You discover that the approval you were seeking externally was always available internally. Your personal revolution today. Implement the authentic decision protocol. For every important choice today, ask, would I do this even if nobody would ever know? The answers will show you where you're still trapped in external approval patterns. Genuine happiness doesn't come from applause, it comes from internal alignment. When you act according to your real values, mental peace becomes a natural byproduct, not a distant goal. If you're ready to break free from external approval, comment authentic and share a decision you made thinking about others instead of yourself. Tag someone who needs to see this, because I'm about to reveal the final secret of genuine evolution. The true achievement code: how to build a life that doesn't need filters. The final revelation that changes everything. The happiness you've been chasing doesn't exist. But there's something infinitely better waiting for you on the other side of this illusion that's been keeping you trapped in cycles of dissatisfaction. You've spent your entire life pursuing a ghost called success that was invented by an industry that profits from your chronic dissatisfaction. It's time to hack the code of true fulfillment and discover what actually creates lasting satisfaction. A longitudinal Harvard study that followed people for 80 years discovered that relationship quality is the only real predictor of sustainable happiness. Not money, not status, not achievements, genuine human connections. But nobody sold you a $3,997 course on that, right? The great external success lie. The personal development industry sells you the fantasy that there's a happiness destination where you'll arrive and finally feel complete. It's a calculated lie designed to keep you always consuming, always seeking, always dissatisfied with your current reality. The disturbing truth: there's no finish line. Life isn't a video game where you beat the final boss and live happily ever after. It's a continuous process of experimentation, growth, and adaptation that never ends. The radical transformation myth. They sold you the idea that you need a dramatic personal revolution, quit everything, countries, become a digital nomad entrepreneur. More marketing manipulation. True transformation happens through consistent micro changes, not Instagram-worthy revolutions that look good in posts. The real fulfillment formula. True fulfillment equals alignment: your real values, plus contribution, positive impact, plus presence, ability to be here now. It's not a formula you can sell in a $3,997 course, because it's too simple and doesn't create dependency on external systems or gurus. The authenticity operating system. First, you need to discover your real values, not the ones you were taught to have. Your values are like your fingerprint, unique and non-transferable. When you act aligned with them, life flows naturally instead of feeling like constant uphill struggle. Second, you need to find a way to contribute that makes sense for you. It could be creating art, teaching children, fixing cars, or making people laugh. What matters is that it resonates with your essence, not society's expectations. Third, you need to develop the rarest skill of the 21st century, being present. In an era of infinite distractions, whoever can be fully present has an absurd competitive advantage in every area of life. The peace money can't buy. When you stop chasing happiness and start building an aligned life, something extraordinary happens. You discover peace. Not the peace of someone who made it, but the peace of someone who knows they're already where they need to be. You stop needing to prove your worth to the world, because you finally recognize your intrinsic value. You stop seeking external validation because you've developed solid internal validation that doesn't depend on others' opinions. The silent revolution, true rebellion in the modern world, isn't screaming on social media or following alternative gurus. It's living a genuinely authentic life, making decisions based on your values, and finding fulfillment in simple, real things. It's choosing depth over superficiality, quality over quantity, authenticity over performance, substance over style. Your personal manifesto. Write one sentence that summarizes your deepest truth about what really matters in life. It could be, "My peace is worth more than external approval," or, "I'd rather be authentic than popular." This sentence is your new operating system. The journey continues, but now you have the real map. Question everything they taught you about success. Filter information like your mental sanity depends on it, because it does. Stop living for an audience and start living for yourself. Build a life based on your real values, not the values they sold you. The most successful people aren't those with the most followers, money, or achievements. They're those who built lives aligned with their authentic selves and found peace in the process. That's the only success metric that actually matters in the end. If you're ready to live without filters, comment your personal manifesto sentence and tag someone who needs to stop chasing fantasies. Share this content if you understand that true evolution doesn't happen in courses, but in daily decisions of authenticity. The revolution won't be televised, it will happen in your life, one authentic choice at a time.